It is better to be feared than loved. If you cannot be both, silence sharpens that truth. In a world that worships noise, the one who withholds sound commands greater gravity. The battlefield of modern life is not littered with swords, but with words, screens, and constant alerts. Whoever shouts loudest seems powerful, but the true schemer knows that the loudest warrior often becomes the easiest target. History shows this pattern again and again. The quiet strategist waits, collects intelligence, and strikes only when the moment ensures victory. Think of the predator who stalks in tall grass. The lion does not roar before it hunts. The hawk does not scream before it dives. Silence is not weakness. It is a weapon. When you speak too soon, you reveal your hand. When you rush to explain, you surrender leverage. Do not fill empty space with nervous chatter. Hold stillness as if it were a drawn blade pressed against the table. The cost of ignoring this law is visible all around you. Loud colleagues in the workplace get marked by superiors as reckless. Noisy leaders online burn brightly and then collapse under scrutiny. Even in personal disputes, the one who rages first often looks smaller, while the calm voice in the room gains quiet authority. Imagine two people disagreeing at a meeting. One interrupts, shouting to prove a point. The other waits, lets the noise drain, and then delivers a single calm sentence. Which one leaves the lasting impression of control? Your command is to resist the pull of noise. Withdraw from unnecessary battles. Cut the urge to defend every slight. Replace reactive speech with deliberate pauses. Move with precision, not volume. When you must, strike cleanly and without fanfare. Let silence be the armor that hides your intent and the hammer that amplifies your words when you finally choose to use them. The mantra is simple. Power moves is not an illusion. It is real. It is the part of you that trades long-term rules for short-term relief. You must see it. You must name it. Then you must strip it of its crown. Modern life trains you to be dethroned. Endless notifications, constant scrolling, fractured attention. You wake with a plan and lose it in minutes. You try to read and reach for your phone. You sit to think and find yourself drifting. These are not small slips. These are silent coups. Every distraction is a dagger in the side of your rule. The king who loses his focus loses his future. You cannot allow that. Reclaim your mental court. Command your thoughts with the same gravity you would command soldiers. Train your focus like a blade. When a weak impulse rises, cut it. When anxiety floods the court, silence it. Do not allow your mental capital to be spent on every passing emotion. Do not justify every mood. Govern it. Do not wait to feel ready. Act as ruler first. Weak. I don't feel like it. Strong. I do it because I said I would. Weak. I'll start when I'm motivated. Strong. I begin, and motivation follows. Weak. It's just a small distraction. Strong. Every distraction is a dethronement. One moment of mastery can silence 100 doubts. One command followed through can restore order to a chaotic court. Do this daily. Declare law over your inner kingdom. You are not your impulses. You are the ruler who decides which thoughts live and which are exiled. Rule your mind, or it will rule you. The day is won or lost before most people even open their eyes. Morning is the battlefield where the first decisive strike is made. If you rise with order, you claim the high ground. If you stumble through chaos, you walk into the war already defeated. A ruler who cannot govern his mornings cannot govern his life. Rituals are your weapons. They do not need to be complex. They must be consistent. By contrast, waking with precision sends the message that your word is law. When you rise at the time you set, you prove that your throne is intact. Consider the difference in framing. Weak. I have to wake up early. Strong. I choose to rise before others. Weak. It's just one more hour of sleep. Strong. This hour is the crown I claim before the world stirs. Weak. Mornings drain me. Strong. Mornings arm me. The shift is not small. It is the distinction between servant and sovereign. Picture the sunrise as a coronation. While others still sleep, you are crowned in silence. The streets are empty. The noise of the world has not yet begun. This is your chance to think clearly, to set the board before rivals move their pieces. The predator hunts best when the field is still. The sovereign rules best when the court is quiet. Rise early, and you inherit territory others abandon. Your task is not to make morning perfect. It is to make it yours. Declare your ritual. Guard it as you would guard the gates of a fortress. Strike first with action, not reaction. The enemy of chaos awaits you outside, but if you leave the gates armed, you cannot be taken by surprise. Win the morning, and you win the throne. Power often belongs to the one who can wait. In war, noise and haste expose weakness. Armies that rushed forward without pause bled out against disciplined lines. Commanders who stayed still, holding ground while others wasted energy, often gained the victory. Stillness is not inaction. It is controlled readiness, the blade hidden beneath the cloak. When you remain composed while others scramble, you collect information, preserve strength, and strike at the exact moment that ensures dominance. History shows this pattern clearly. Generals who paused before moving often watched impatient rivals collapse under their own weight. Leaders who mastered restraint projected out, not rush to answer every message. Do not leap into every argument. Do not reveal your thoughts before the time is right. The pause is your power. The silence is your shield. If conflict arises, use stillness as your weapon. In a meeting, when voices clash and tempers rise, stay silent. Let the noise burn itself out. When all eyes turn, deliver one calm, deliberate line. The contrast between chaos and composure crowns you as the authority in the room. Weak. I had to speak first. Strong. I chose to speak last. Weak. I reacted without thinking. Strong. I waited, then acted with precision. Your command is to weaponize stillness. Train yourself to hold when others rush. Guard your focus against noise that drains your edge. Use silence to cloak your intent and patience to sharpen your strike. Do this, and your presence will grow heavier than the loudest shout. Stillness is strength. A throne is not secured by kindness alone. History shows that rulers who survived were those willing to cut away what threatened their crown. Kings who hesitated to remove rivals often lost everything. Those who acted decisively, even ruthlessly, preserved their authority and ensured the stability of their reign. Elimination is not cruelty for its own sake. It is a strategy. Power demands clarity, and clarity comes from removing what weakens you. Your modern battlefield does not require swords. It requires choices. Toxic people who drain your focus are rivals in disguise. Habits that waste your time are assassins working silently in your own court. Every hour lost to pointless scrolling or gossip is a resource stolen from your command. The cost of keeping these distractions is invisible at first, but devastating over time. You cannot build dominance while entertaining weakness. If you want your throne to stand, you must identify what undermines it and remove it without hesitation. The mask protects the crown. Dominance begins with the willingness to cut away weakness. Inside, you must live an assassin, not of others, but of your excuses. Every time you delay action, every time you rationalize failure, you strengthen the enemy within. Excuses are soft daggers disguised as comfort. They convince you to stay still while opportunity moves past. To master yourself, you must train that inner assassin to kill hesitation without mercy. Modern life is filled with self-sabotage disguised as reason. You tell yourself you are too tired to train, too busy to learn, too stressed to act. But these are not truths. They are defenses for weakness. Weak. I'll start when I feel ready. Strong. I act because readiness comes after action. Weak. I don't have time. Strong. I create time for what matters. Weak. I'll try again tomorrow. Strong. I strike now. The assassin's blade cuts through these lies instantly. The strike is not cruel. It is necessary. Without it, you remain chained to the weaker version of yourself. History confirms this principle. Generals knew that mercy for desertion meant death for the whole army. Discipline was preserved by removing those who endangered the collective. Roman legions often punished deserters harshly, not out of vengeance, but to preserve order for thousands who depended on unity. Ruthlessness protected survival. In the same way, you cannot allow deserters in your own mind to roam free. If one thought is allowed to flee discipline, others will follow. The result is collapse. You must execute the deserters of your own will, the thoughts that betray your cause, the impulses that weaken your campaign. Now imagine the duel that defines your life. Across from you stands your weaker self. He hesitates, complains, and avoids. He carries every excuse you have ever spoken. If you allow him to live, he will take your throne. Entertainment strengthens weakness. Every scroll, every click, every careless indulgence is a handful of meat thrown to the wrong cage. Over time, that wolf becomes large enough to dominate the court of your mind. The tragedy is that many people train their own destroyer without realizing it. You must reverse the feeding. Each time you train your body, you throw strength to the wolf of discipline. Each time you keep your word, you feed the wolf of honor. Each time you choose silence over pointless noise, you strengthen the wolf of stillness. Small actions may appear insignificant, but they are meals. Over days, weeks, and years, the difference in size between the wolves becomes impossible to ignore. The stronger wolf rules, and you live under its reign. Imagine them in the cage. On one side, a wolf is lean, scarred, hungry for your downfall. On the other, a wolf of steel, calm, disciplined, waiting for your hand. You decide which is nourished. You decide which grows. If you continue to feed distraction, it will one day break the bars and consume the throne. If you commit to feeding discipline, the weaker wolf will wither until it no longer threatens you. This is not a metaphor alone. It is the daily reality of reinforcement. Weak. It's just one bad habit. Strong. Every repetition strengthens an army. Weak. It's harmless scrolling. Strong. Each scroll feeds weakness. Weak. I'll balance both. Strong. Only one wolf survives. The framing matters. You cannot negotiate peace between the wolves. One must win. The question is not whether you feed, but whom. Your command is to starve the habits that sabotage you. Cut their food supply. Stop entertaining gossip. Stop rewarding delays. Refuse to pour energy into distractions. At the same time, deliberately feed the wolf of discipline. Reward your progress. Reinforce your focus. Give strength only to the habits that serve your throne. Feed discipline. Starve weakness. Life is a chessboard, and every move you make is judged as strength or weakness. Machiavelli observed that rulers who survived were those who treated both allies and enemies as pieces to be maneuvered. Friendship, fear, loyalty, betrayal. Each had its square. Each could be sacrificed or advanced, depending on the demands of strategy. Victory rarely belonged to the strongest army. It belonged to the one who understood positioning, timing, and deception. The game was not brute force. It was a calculation. The same rules shape your daily life. Every text you send, every pause before you respond, every tilt of your body is a move on the board. Communication is never neutral. Reply too quickly, and you appear desperate. Delay with purpose, and you signal control. Walk into a room with slouched shoulders, and you yield the square before you even speak. Enter upright, silent, composed, and you establish dominance before the first word is played. Weak. I hope they respect me. Strong. I move in ways that command respect. Weak. I'll just say what comes to mind. Strong. I speak with intent, as if each word is a move. Say, "This no longer serves me," and you move on. That calm certainty is more powerful than any argument. It signals that your throne is not up for negotiation. Your command is to guard your crown by removing threats before they grow. Be ruthless with distraction. Be decisive with weakness. Prune constantly, and let your strength rise where waste once lived. Cut what weakens, and the throne stands unshaken. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Machiavelli warned rulers that appearance often matters more than truth. To survive power, you must wear the mask of command. The mask is not deception without purpose. It is protection. It hides weakness, projects authority, and allows you to hold the throne without giving rivals the weapon of your vulnerability. A sovereign who shows every doubt is a sovereign waiting to be dethroned. Power demands performance. History records that many rulers kept their crowns not by being virtuous, but by appearing virtuous. Mercy could be withheld while the image of mercy was displayed. Ruthlessness could be enacted while the mask of justice reassured the people. The point was not hypocrisy. It was survival. To reveal every true intention is to hand your enemies a map to your destruction. When the mask is in place, rivals are forced to guess, and uncertainty is power in itself. The same law applies to your daily life. In workplaces, in relationships, in every interaction where perception shapes opportunity, you must manage your mask. You cannot afford to reveal raw frustration at every turn. You cannot show insecurity to those who might exploit it. If you present yourself as scattered, you will be treated as weak. If you carry yourself with composure, even when you feel pressure inside, you will be treated as capable. This is not about living dishonestly. It is about controlling the image that protects your positivity. Modern life tempts you to act impulsively. Social media rewards immediate reaction. Work environments pressure you to respond instantly. But those who move without strategy are pawns sacrificing themselves. Those who hold, watch, and act with precision are kings who control the tempo of the game. The world notices patterns. If you always fold under pressure, it learns to corner you. If you always reveal your thoughts too soon, it learns to predict you. To be powerful, you must sometimes delay, sometimes disguise, sometimes sacrifice, in order to win a greater position later. Imagine yourself on the board. You are the king, the most valuable piece, but also the most targeted. Every rival watches your steps. Move recklessly, and you are trapped. Move with calculation, and the board bends around you. Allies are knights and bishops, useful, but never beyond betrayal. Resources are pawns, small but crucial when advanced correctly. Even sacrifices can be strength if they open the path to checkmate. The question is not whether life is a game. It is whether you learn to play it better than those who face you across the board. Your command is to see every interaction as a move. Do not waste them. Do not rush them. Place each word, each action, with the precision of a strategist who knows the end before the beginning. Authority comes not from noise, but from mastery of positioning. Move with intent. Rule the board. An iron will is not born. It is forged. Like steel in a furnace, the mind hardens only through ritual. Repetition is the hammer, consistency the flame. Those who understand this truth rise above comfort, because their discipline is not occasional. It is daily, relentless, and unshakable. A commander who prepares every day is never surprised when battle comes. The Spartans embodied this law. Their strength did not come from chance. It was shaped by ritual training that began in youth and continued without mercy. Each morning brought drills that conditioned both body and mind. The goal was not just skill in combat, but the creation of warriors who could not be broken by fear or fatigue. By repeating the same acts with precision, they became men of iron, able to endure what others could not. History remembers them because their rituals left no room for softness. Their will was their weapon. Modern life requires the same logic, though the battlefield has shifted. Your rituals may not involve shields and spears, but they must still harden you. Fitness trains your body to obey. Reading sharpens your mind against ignorance. Journaling clears mental chaos and sets command over your thoughts. These practices are not hobbies. They are drills. Each session reinforces order over weakness. Each repeated act tells your mind, I am in command. Neglect them, and your will dulls. Repeat them, and your will strengthens. until resistance bends before it. Picture yourself as raw metal on the forge. Each morning, you are placed on the anvil. Every disciplined act is a strike of the hammer. Every repeated ritual removes impurity and shapes structure. At first, the blows feel heavy. Over time, the form emerges. The blade becomes sharp, the armor solid, the will unbreakable. You do not wait for motivation. You submit to the fire daily until the fire becomes part of you. Weak. I'll do it when I feel like it. Strong. I do it because it must be done. Weak. Once in a while is enough. Strong. Every day I strike the forge. Weak. This one day won't matter. Strong. This day is the iron link in my chain. The difference is survival. Rituals repeatedly carve grooves in the mind until they are no longer choices, but laws. That is the essence of unshakable command. Your command is to build the forge. Define your rituals, protect them, treat them as sacred. They are not negotiable, not optional, not subject to mood. They are the hammer that turns you into steel. Without them, you are soft metal. With them, you are a weapon. Rituals forge the iron will. The highest form of power is to become untouchable. History shows that some leaders reached a state where attacks against them only strengthened their position. Their enemies feared striking because perception itself had made them invincible. Rulers who mastered this art built reputations so solid that challenges seemed impossible. Sometimes the legend of their strength was greater than their actual resources, yet it kept them secure. Untouchability was not immunity from attack. It was the elevation of their throne to a height where arrows lost force before reaching it. Your modern path demands the same principle. To be untouchable is to build layers of independence that cannot be stripped away easily. Financial strength protects you from manipulation. A strong reputation shields you from slander. Self-sufficiency removes the chains of constant dependence. The world respects those who cannot be cornered. When you have resources, when your word carries weight, when you do not need constant approval, you stand outside the reach of common strikes. Weak. I hope I'm safe. Strong. I build walls no one can breach. Weak. I depend on luck. Strong. I depend on the structures I command. The throne above the storm is not fantasy. Picture yourself seated on high ground while chaos rages below. Rivals hurl stones, but they cannot reach you. Envy whispers, but it dies in the wind before it reaches your ear. This is the state you must aim for. Not absence of enemies, but irrelevance of their attacks. Your focus is no longer survival. It is expansion, strategy, and control from a place of security. Untouchability does not make you immortal. It makes you formidable enough that conflict rarely begins, because opponents know it will end in their defeat. The path there requires deliberate construction. You must strip away vulnerabilities, build skills so rare they cannot be ignored. Guard your reputation with consistency, because one false move can undo years of positioning. Accumulate resources until you are no longer forced into desperate bargains. Carry yourself with authority that suggests permanence. Each choice is a brick in the fortress. Each discipline is a stone on the wall. Day by day, you climb until the storm is beneath you. Your command is to refuse smallness. Do not beg for respect. Do not live exposed. Build so strongly that attacks are wasted energy. Rise high enough that you are no longer debated. You are simply acknowledged. Stand untouchable, and the throne endures. The true strength of power is not in noise, but in its convergence into silence that commands. Machiavelli noted that rulers endured when they blended appearance, calculation, and fear into a strategy that others could not predict. The synthesis of quiet and strategy becomes invisible control. It is not brute force that creates lasting dominance, but the ability to move unseen, to govern perception, and to strike without warning. When silence combines with calculation, you master the field without announcing your moves. History demonstrates this. Many rulers survived, not because they were the loudest, but because they knew when to hold back and when to reveal. They were not desperate for constant attention. They let their rivals waste energy, let noise fill the air, and stepped forward only when the result was certain. Their restraint was not passive. It was power disguised. That synthesis, silence joined with precise action, builds a form of control that cannot easily be attacked. In your modern life, the same law applies. The quiet strategist dominates workplaces, relationships, and society not by demanding recognition, but by positioning. The one who does not rush to speak gains gravity when they finally choose words. The one who does not react impulsively carries weight when they act. Imagine two colleagues arguing loudly in a meeting. You wait, let them burn out their energy, then deliver a single calm directive. Authority shifts to you, not because you shouted, but because your silence made the move decisive. Weak, I must prove myself with volume. Strong, I prove myself with control. Weak, I react to every provocation. Strong, I respond only when the strike matters. In relationships, the same principle holds. The person who guards their words and gives them sparingly is respected more than the one who floods every space with constant noise. Silence becomes a boundary, a reminder that your focus is not free. Control of attention is control of power. In society, those who learn to step back from endless distraction, who stop feeding noise, begin to see opportunities that others miss. The quiet strategist is not lost in the chaos. They are above it, mapping the board while others fight for scraps of attention. Now envision the throne room of power. Rivals surround you, whispering, plotting, raising their voices. You do not rise, you do not shout. You remain seated, calm, silent. They look at you, hoping for a reaction, but you offer none. Their own noise becomes their downfall as they turn against each other. When the storm passes, you are still crowned, untouched, elevated not by words, but by presence. This is the archetype of quiet dominance. The predator who waits, the king who rules without leaving the chair, the strategist who wins without showing his hand. Your command is to synthesize the laws you have learned. Guard your mind as a throne. Treat mornings as battlefields where you arm yourself. Weaponize stillness. Eliminate weakness. Wear the mask of command. Train your inner assassin. Feed discipline, not distraction. Play the chessboard with deliberate moves. Forge rituals that harden you into iron. Rise until you are untouchable. Each principle is a weapon, but together they form the arsenal of quiet dominance. Do not think you must shout to win. Do not waste energy in endless skirmishes. Hold your silence as your shield and your sword. Move only when it matters. Strike without warning. Let rivals expose themselves with noise. You do not need to prove yourself to them. You need only remain on the throne when they have destroyed themselves. Silent strategy is sovereign. The world does not reward those who shout the loudest. It remembers them briefly, often for their downfall, and then moves on. Noise creates attention, but attention without substance collapses quickly. You see it in modern life every day. Leaders who chase applause burn out in scandal. Influencers who build only on outrage vanish when the outrage shifts. Even in personal circles, the one who demands respect rarely keeps it. Chasing power exposes weakness, and weakness is punished. The reward belongs to those who master silence. History does not immortalize the frantic, but the composed. Generals remembered for centuries were not the loudest in the camp. They were the ones whose restraint commanded trust. Rulers who secured their thrones understood that perception was stronger than noise. Their legacy endured because they did not beg for recognition. They embodied it. True mastery leaves a mark beyond the moment because it was never dependent on fleeting applause. You must see yourself the same way. Every time you resist the urge to prove, you strengthen your authority. Every time you stay calm while others panic, you rise above them. Weak, notice me. Strong, you cannot ignore me. Weak, I'll say more so they believe. Strong, I'll say less so my words weigh more. Weak, I must convince. Strong, I must embody. Respect is not seized by volume. It is commanded by presence. Imagine the throne above the storm. Rivals argue, voices rise, chaos swirls below. You do not descend. You remain seated, still watching. They exhaust themselves while your silence becomes heavier than their noise. When you finally move, every eye is forced to follow. This is quiet dominance, not absence of power, but its highest form. Your command is to stop chasing, stop begging for respect, stop wasting energy on noise. Build strength, protect your throne, and let silence amplify you. Outsmart without noise, and the world bends. Power does not shout. Power whispers, and the world obeys.